now the other man you want to go and link up, oh baby. I know we say I even got the fake love, but I'm the sickest nigga you can find in this world. And it doesn't matter, baby, got to choose one already. Right now. So tell me, make I know now. If you show me, make I know now. If you not tell me, oh, make I know now. Yeah, if you don't love me, oh, tell me, make I know now. If you show me, make I know now. If you not show me, oh, make I know now.
If you don't love me, make you not say you love me, oh. If you don't need me, oh, nobody don't say you need me, oh. I take this love so seriously, oh. Baby, oh, make you don't blame me, oh. Nobody don't say you love me, oh. Before we go further, tell me now, I wanna know. They cannot go far down low, I wanna know. They cannot fall down low. Do you have another? Oh, I wanna know. Am I the only one? Am I your number one? If you don't love me, make you not talk, say you love me, oh. Aye. If you don't need me, oh, nobody talk, say you need me, oh. I take this love oh seriously, oh. Baby, oh, make you not play me, oh. Nobody talk, say you love me, oh. If you don't love me, oh, make you not talk, say you love me, oh. If you don't need me, oh, nobody talk, say you need me, oh. I take this love oh seriously, oh. You know be finished, you don't finish me, oh. Nobody talk, say you need me, oh. Don't play me, oh. Make a no, make a no, make a no, make a no, make a no.
Yeah. Yeah. When they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Don't like your vibe and I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Blowing up the roof and it go boom, boom, boom. Don't you ever treat me like I be moon, moon. Bad energy, I zoom, zoom, zoom. I be on my way like I be coming soon. Got a chopper on that nigga, boom, boom, boom. So when they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom. It's a long time coming, why they hop on my stand? Do not hesitate, that's why I got this confidence thing. Just be careful, if you fly, they gon' try cut all your wings. When I talk and it's the ending, that's the way of a king. I won't rest till the money made me sagging my jeans. I'm a papa, I'm a mama, living life I still wish. And then all my realest nigga flexing deep and in lead. When I talk and it's the ending, that's the way of a king. Yeah. Congratulations, that's the only valid conversation. They gon' love me now in my hometown. So all you hating on me, get your face down. Whoa. When they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Don't like your vibe and I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Blowing up the roof and it go boom, boom, boom. Don't you ever treat me like I be moon, moon. Bad energy, I zoom, zoom, zoom. I be on my way like I be coming soon. Got a chopper on a nigga, boom, boom, boom. So when they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. They don't love me like I do, they just wanna take my juice. Now they running out of clue, they just don't know what to do. I'm breaking chains now, I ain't no super boy, that's the way down. Oh. Congratulations, that's the only valid conversation. They gon' love me now in my hometown. So all you hating on me, get your face down. I'm on the road, I gotta go. I'm feeling good, there's nothing way I know if it do. They like my lifestyle, they want my lifestyle. They love my lifestyle, they want live like 5-star. I'm on the road, I gotta go. I'm feeling good, there's nothing way I know if it do. They like my lifestyle, they want my lifestyle. They love my lifestyle, they want live like 5-star. When they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Don't like your vibe and I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Blowing up the roof and it go boom, boom, boom. Don't you ever treat me like I be moon, moon. Bad energy, I zoom, zoom, zoom. I be on my way like I be coming soon. Got a chopper on a nigga, boom, boom, boom. So when they tryna hold me, I go zoom, zoom, zoom. Go zoom zoom zoom. Go zoom zoom zoom. Zoom zoom zoom.
Extraordinaire.
Zoom zoom zoom. Zoom zoom zoom. Zoom zoom. Check.
You know them ones.
Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, tell me 1, 2, 3. Kiki, Kiki. Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, but you don't know me.
You know them ones. Oh, I hear you on yarn like you know me pass. Hear you know fine, you just know to bash. How you go flex like you got G pass? As in why you go vex, you be dominas. Go and tell him I am not the one. No sir. I'm more by lie, could run. Lie. I'm a day chop mouse for the fun, so sorry love. To be fair, I'm a boy. Hey, I know give them face me. I just run my race, go. Go from state to state, I'm a love I know they chase. Sun up, sun low, won't feel me let come low, come pro, won't see me there. Sun up, sun low, won't feel me let come low, come pro, won't. But I tell him say,
Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, tell me 1, 2, 3. Kiki, Kiki.
oh yeah.
Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, but you don't know me. Kiki, Kiki.
Are you entertained? Why you still fuming with your hits? It's okay, I beg, sit down. I do, I'm JJ, don't give them pepper. Spirit so white, would I be sele? I am sorry, oh yak belle. That you think you know me, oh yak besse. Come marine law, you could see more. Matter of fact, if you want it, you could be more. Don't be silly, Kiki Ricky. It's all love on the side, come and see me. Sun up, sun low, won't feel me let come low, come pro, won't see me there. Sun up, sun low, won't feel me let come low, come pro, won't. I will never compromise.
Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, tell me 1, 2, 3. Kiki, Kiki. Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, but you don't know me. Kiki, Kiki.
Oh yeah, tell them. Waiting. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Oh yeah, tell them. Kikiriki. I beg. Oh yeah, tell them. Oh yeah, tell them. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Oh yeah, tell them. Oh yeah, tell them. Closer.
Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, tell me 1, 2, 3. Kiki, Kiki. Kiki, Kiki. Don't care what you think. Hey, but you don't know me. Kiki, Kiki. Kiki, Kiki.
Hi! Welcome back. This is still Tea Time. Nigerian pioneer blogger Linda Ikeji has replied a social media troll who mocked and advised her to get rid of stretch marks on her body. It all started after the celebrity blogger posted dashing photos of herself via her social media Instagram account. And however, while many people gave the prominent entertainment blogger accolades for her beautiful looks, you're a fine girl, police, fashion police, queen of the Zanga, slay mama, one of them was observant enough to see that her stretch marks were visible in the last slide. On seeing this disparaging remark from the troll with the name Mama Emeka, Linda Ikeji told her she cared less about the stretch marks.
Thank you.
And I like that.
What's wrong with stretch marks? That's my own question. I find them quite...
They can look weird.
No, they can't.
They can. Me, I feel...
It's when you lose weight, you gain weight.
it.
What's
There
wrong
are
with
some,
that?
there are
Quite
some
nice.
kinds. Okay.
The ones that
Okay, on
come
some
up-
people-
the
some
ones
people
that are
it's
from
really, really
bleaching.
nice.
Some
Now the
look
ones
weird.
that are from bleaching.
I don't know where they are from.
I know
there are
those
some that
ones, they are
look
those
like
thick
what
ones.
is what
Those-
is that? It looks like a skin.
condition.
I've not seen anyone really bad because the one I've seen, I find it really nice. Especially on Melanie.
I think you're talking about cellulites, and cellulites are very different from stretch marks.
I know, stretch
Okay.
marks. I actually mean stretch marks right
Okay.
now. I actually like the one on my body too. They actually make To me, I find it very nice.
I think
It
it's
makes you look
natural,
nice.
obviously. Like
I think
it's
men
part
will
of
like
yeah.
them.
True.
Men.
And I find guys saying they love
I
it
think it
too,
was as
okay?
of end of last year or 2019, stretch marks was back in the market.
When Kendrick Lamar said it like
Exactly, it was
yes.
back in the market. Like everybody's like, "My God, I like stretch marks," and I like what.
it was back in the market. Yeah, fun.
Because they used to do that. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. Now fupa is in the market as well. If you have your stomach, you put your stomach out there like that
I
everywhere.
don't get that
Please get it though. I'm
can't get it, though.
Team fupa, so I get it.
Where's your big stomach?
Okay, they did.
When people are talking about big
I
stomach,
don't do it.
she's coming out.
Okay.
okay.
Anyway, I think with stretch marks and with anything really, it is about the person that's carrying it. It doesn't really matter what size you are. If you're healthy, that's more important to me. Which is why I didn't want to make the statement to say that, oh, stretch marks are great, because some of them look like there's something wrong. Like maybe there's an inflammation going on under your skin, or like you're using a bad, like if you said like you're using a bad cream, you're reacting to a product. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh my God, stretch marks are great.
Okay.
They're not. But in regards to the not natural one that comes from just being human and the fact that your flesh stretches and then goes back and then there's a mark that shows that expansion, I think it's natural. But I loved her response, and I think she's being genuinely honest, because I've seen that girl Photoshop a lot of pictures. If that girl really didn't care, you wouldn't catch that thing ever, because people look out for stretch marks. And I like that kind of comfortability as well. And I think you set the precedence to what you have, what you find insecure. So there are some things that people would say about me that would say, oh, that's not a good thing, but I really like it, and there's really not that much. And then there are some things that I've flipped where I know people like, and I'll not say it because I know you will start teasing me with it, but people will say that, oh, it's pretty, it suits you, but I have a very strong like insecurity about that thing. But I know that you're the one who sets the precedence on how you want to feel about your own body. But I'm not gonna lie and sit here and act like I don't know that there is a strong influence on how you feel that comes from society, that comes from movies, how they were represented and all of that. With body issues, I think the biggest struggle I've had was my skin, because I didn't see that representation done properly when I was growing up. In the rap videos, the dark-skinned girl was the nasty one that they were insulting. I remember Jay-Z had this video where he was saying that something about like this dark-skinned girl that even has mouth to talk or whatever, and he put the girl there. That was one of my first few times.
I love girls.
Yeah, that song.
Okay.
My African chick, she didn't like me a lot.
Something up. No. So, it's something that shaped my entire life, because I remember seeing her in the music video and thinking, wow, I've never seen a dark-skinned girl in the music video, but this girl was not attractive looking. I don't know if that's how they made her face or she just wasn't an attractive girl in general. Okay. She had short hair, she put her hand, I remember this thing, watching, growing up, thinking, wow. And I didn't want to be associated to that. Everybody wants to be associated to the girl that the guy picks in the movie video, or the girl that everybody is like following around. And that girl usually used to be light-skinned and like pretty and skinny,
But
and
the narrative is
had a
changing.
look and stuff. And same thing goes to movies as well. So that was a big struggle growing up. Like, but you know, obviously now we were back in the markets. Thank God to that. But
Melanin popping.
but I think the bigger conversation is that if whether you are in market, you are not in market, that you're comfortable with who you are.
Guys, can I tell guys about one of our fights? We fight a lot, in case you guys haven't noticed. So I want to just
They
tell
notice.
You. They notice, right? Yeah.
I see them on my timeline. If you don't allow if you're going to turn, why you always fighting? That's just how we are. Okay.
All right, so there was this day, and it was a big lesson. So I'm going to share the story because I actually learned something from it. And regardless of how close you are to people, you really have to be careful about the kind of things you say, especially when it comes to their body, their skin color, and all that. So I didn't even know I was caramel. She told me, right? Okay. So we were going home one day, you know, we were going home together, and then there was a light-skinned girl in the car.
Yellow bone.
Yeah, and she was with me in the car. She was sitting in the front seat, and I said, I think somebody made a joke outside because the Fed was sitting behind, and somebody was like, you guys look like a family, and that's her. And I was like, no, she can't be our daughter, she's too black. And she took offense, and she was like, wow, you know, and we argued the way home. But I was arguing, but at the end of the day, I got a message that, look, and then later, I think the following day, I had a chat with her that, look, babe, I was just joking. He said, no, Ife, you don't know what I have been through with this. I lived in a country where they see black people as this and they, you know, and she shared it. And I figured that, okay, wow, you need to be careful about what you actually say about people's bodies, their skin color and all that. So the moral of my story is be careful.
And I think also being careful is the mindset. Like, where does that come from, right? Like, where does it come from that dark skin doesn't look nice? There's a lot of dark skins that don't want to get darker because, hey, oh my God,
Yes,
it's
society,
there's an association to being dark skin that's bad. Where does that come from? Because it's not natural. We were, even scientists would tell you that we were all black, we were all, you know, African or whatever. So, you know, why is that like that? And it comes from color, it comes from racism. Colorism is a baby sister of racism and all that. So once you start to catch that you think like that, I know people, when I got engaged to my fiance, I know how many people I had to correct that, or maybe not correct, but one of that, if you're going to be complimenting me, don't you dare ever compliment me like that, where you say, oh, your kids are going to be so beautiful. Meaning that if I had cohabited with a black man, my children, that means already,
I don't understand.
my children are not as
cohabited.
There's a word. Anyway, reproduced with a black man.
children are nowhere
My
to
children
be.
automatically wouldn't be
maybe
as...
you are calling off wedding that you don't want to marry, that you now want to cohabit.
You're missing my point.
I'm just messing with you.
You know, that automatically speaking, that the black kids are right behind the mixed race kids in terms of beauty. Because my child has not come out, right? Like, it doesn't even matter that the child is ugly or fine. The fact that there's white in there, it's already like a better whatever. That kind of primitive, backwashed, and backward kind of mentality is so like is unacceptable. But even in regards to bodies as well, I just think the point of the matter is let's just love ourselves
and let people be.
Yes.
Don't be on social media because this also leads to cyberbullying.
Alrighty, well,
Wait, sorry, I just want to quickly press on what you guys just said about.
We have to go.
we've done this thing to you so many times. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
wrap
babe.
up.
I'm sorry. I wish I had more time. We'll talk about it
I'll
after
talk
the
about
show.
it tomorrow.
Unfortunately, that is all that we can take. But thank you so much for watching. Join the conversation on social media. I want to know what your thoughts are on body shaming. Hashtag tea time. Add any of us on the table. Tell us your experience. What was that one thing that somebody said about your forehead, your eyes, your height, your skin color, and all of that? And let us know. We want to chat with you guys. Remember that you can also catch up on all our previous episodes, including this one, and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also watch Tea Time on RTTV and in London on Ben Television. A big thank you will go out to my co-anchors, Ifeolu Oshike and Eni, for keeping it jiggy, honest, raw, entertaining, and informative today. And of course, my entire production team, the cameraman, everybody. Thank you so much for watching Tea Time. My name is Ife Omai. Adios.
Contrary to popular belief, Corona is not a hoax. The virus is real. Be responsible. Wear a mask. Wash your hands with soap and water and avoid crowded places. Maintain physical distancing. Be responsible. Together, we can overcome the pandemic.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of Ladies Talking Business. I am your host, Irene Ubani, and here with me is my co-host,
Moremi Ako, and our guest for today is a delectable business entrepreneur and a coach. She was recently listed by Forbes as one of the top most powerful 50 women in Africa.
She is the CEO of House of Tara International and was also mentioned as one of the young global leaders by the World Economic Forum. She's no other person than Tara Fela-Durotoye. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Certainly,
very much.
You are definitely one to be reckoned with. What makes Tara Tara?
That's an interesting question. I think from a personal standpoint, I'm someone who's wants to live a life of purpose, a life of impact, a life that empowers others. And I think that has also reflected into the business model that House of Tara has created. One of our core values as a business is empowerment. And the reason why is because it's also a reflection of the things that I'm passionate about. It's reflective of my values as a person. So everything that we do at House of Tara, it's focused around empowerment, it's focused around impact, it's focused around ensuring that the continent is better. So our vision is to be a globally respected beauty company of African origin. So Africa is in our framework, impact is in our framework, empowerment is also in our framework.
And how was the vision birthed?
So I started as a bridal makeup artist, as many people know, going from house to house. Obviously, weddings a big thing in Nigeria. We have, for everyone who's getting married, at multiple levels. You know, you have your introduction, you have your traditional marriage, then you have your white wedding, and then you have a night party when your in-laws come and take you. So, you know, it was birthed out of a place where brides wanted someone who could dress them up on their wedding day, and really, it's really about doing the makeup for them. And I started a business doing that. But as the business began to grow, you know, there was a lot of evolution that took place, and evolution around what more are the customers looking for? What more do the brides want? We found out that our brides moved from just bridal customers to everyday customers who wanted products. Our customers also evolved to people who were at the wedding, who saw me do the makeup of the bride and had interest in becoming makeup artists, wanting to train and learn. We also had people who also wanted a product that was right for them, their skin color, considering the temperature of our environment, the weather of Nigeria. And so the evolution came as a result of what the customers and the consumers were now responding to, wanting, to desiring. And so moving from bridal makeup artistry to then building a business where we have training schools, and we've succeeded in training more than half of the makeup artists who are in the industry today, with 19 centers across the country, from Kaduna to Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to Ibadan, or to Ilorin and to Enugu, and training people and churning out people who could start their own businesses as bridal makeup artists. But then also, as they go out to start their businesses, they needed products. Right, and we created our own line of products. So we have Tara range. We have almost 300 SKUs in our entire range of products, from powders to foundations, eyeshadows to lipsticks. But also, in terms of empowering them, we now started to train them how to not just build a skill as a makeup artist, but also start a trade where you're selling your products to your customers, because that's exactly what happened with me. And then making increasing your income by also not just being a bridal makeup artist, but actually having products that you could sell to your customers. And so our business began to grow from not just the school, but also creating a marketing model or a sales model where we have empowered over 15,000 young women across the country who are trading in the Tara products in different parts of the country.
Interesting. It's amazing, because I can remember that from when I was in law school, I saw people actually do what you talk about. Oh, I sell Tara products. Oh, I sell Tara products, and I get commission. But that's fantastic. So let's talk about influence. Were your parents entrepreneurs in any way? Did that influence that entrepreneurship spirit in you?
No, not at all. My father was a civil servant, and so was my mom. But I think what was interesting was I was intrigued by the response that the society gave to, because obviously I was a pioneer bridal makeup artist in Nigeria. People were fascinated by that as something that I was doing. And so the influence didn't really come from my parents, because my parents were not entrepreneurial in any way. Both of them were actively working for the government. My mom was a civil servant. My father was also a civil servant. The question is, who did I see that was an entrepreneur that I wanted to mirror? There was someone who came, a very famous Nigerian entrepreneur called Victor Oshibodu, and at the time he still is, but obviously the chairman of the company now, founded a company called Vigio, and it was more of a corporate, I think, products company. And he came to my secondary school to talk about his entrepreneurial journey, right? And at the time, people were not planning to become entrepreneurs. There were more people who were fascinated by being lawyers, doctors, and what have you. I listened to him. I can't remember what he said, but all I took away from an inspiration to want to be, to want to do, to want to create a brand, because what he did was to talk about his business, but there was a lot of focus around the brand that he had built. And I think that was a seed that was sown on my entrepreneurial journey at that early stage.
Now, still talking about, this entire journey of yours, we understand that you grew up under the tutelage of your stepmother How did that influence your decisions and choices up until today?
So my stepmom was an amazing woman, and this one of the things I always say. Sometimes you find a situation where you are married to someone who's already had children, and whether he's a widow or divorced, whatever, you have the opportunity to be impactful, right, on the life of the children who are in that house today. And sometimes we take that for granted. I was someone who I believe really benefited from having a stepmother who my dad married, right, and she raised me, and she did an amazing job. Unfortunately, passed away many years ago, but amazing. She studied fine arts. And so she loved the arts. She loved gardening. My father used to call her upstairs farmer because every balcony in every home that we lived in always had plants and flowers. She was extremely stylish, very fashion forward. She loved to read. She loved to cook. She was a thorough homemaker. But I think what was most fascinating about her that I came to realize as I grew older was she was an amazing wife. And some of those things you learn by association, not necessarily by what she was teaching. And I think to a large extent, her desire for a radiant life, her desire for plants, flowers, care, kindness, beauty, fine arts, because I mean, makeup artistry is really about the arts, were part of the things. Her love for Adire and the prints, because she used to make Adire at home for chair covers, for, table mats, for dressing, everything. And I think that those are the things that shaped my desire for a fuller life. So for me, life is beyond my business. Life is more family, but also nature and all the little things that can make life fun and amazing, colors. And those are the things that I think I picked up from her, but also the role of an amazing wife in the life of a man. And that's another thing I picked up from her.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so the House of Tara is now a very mega brand in Africa. So how were you able to expand to have so many branches? And at what points did you know that, okay, it's time for us to expand?
So our expansion strategy was born out of a franchise model and a distributorship model. So distributorship model and a franchise model. Franchise model for us is we have a retail operations system that people wanted to buy, but also we have a brand name that they also wanted to buy, and that's one of the things, strategies for our expansion. So we're able to expand to other places beyond our first store, our second store, because we had people who were interested in our franchise, and that's how we expanded. Distributorship model, like you said, I wasn't in law school with you, but somebody was talking about Tara, right? And through that model, you can expand from a micro standpoint, where you are doing consumer to consumer, where you're doing one-on-one direct marketing. So somebody who's in your school is talking to you, somebody who works in your office is talking to you, someone who goes to your church is talking to you. That was one strategy for the distributorship model. But then also for the franchise is, I'm going to open a retail store that is going to be called the House of Tara, that would do exactly the same thing any other House of Tara would be doing. And what we're essentially doing is replicating a retail operations system that currently works. And that, for us, was our expansion strategy.
And what's your take on consumerism and in terms of business structure? Because we realize that for some business owners, when the founder either dies or doesn't have interest in that business anymore, it feels like that's the end of the business. So what exactly is it for the Tara brand?
It's interesting how you called me a coach earlier on. It's very interesting, right? Because I've never called myself that. But I think the reason why people call me a coach is because I'm very passionate about ensuring that my business outlives me. And then businesses that are upcoming, who are not as, I've done this for 23 years, right? And the people who are doing it for 10 years, the people who are 8 years, what can you put in place today to ensure that your business outlives you? So I'm very passionate about that subject. I've done a lot of study around big African entrepreneurs who have not outlived their businesses. Some of them died and the businesses ended. I mean, recently read an article that was written by Time magazine in 1958 about the title was Self-Made Millionaires of Nigeria. And many of them had mega businesses with franchises from some of the most important brands that we know till today. And some of those brands were created before Ralph Lauren, before Walmart, and Pizza Hut. like the American brands, but those brands don't exist anymore. So you now hear about the people who founded the companies, but you've never heard about those businesses anymore. And so for me, it's such a passion that we need to build businesses that are sustainable. And why? Because we have some serious social issues across the continent around unemployment. One of the reasons why we continue to have unemployment if we don't have businesses that not only grow, but are sustained over multiple years, right? So the minute that business ends, jobs are lost. New jobs cannot even be created when those businesses begin to expand. So government can never employ enough people for us. And so every one of us who have small businesses need to think about how do we build our businesses to become medium-scale businesses so that we can begin to employ 200, 300 people. And this problem that we have as a continent of unemployment and with such a strong youth population can be changed. And it's my passion. And one of the greatest ways to do that is by building systems and building structure. Structure systems is what we need as a continent to build businesses that are sustainable in the long term.
Now, and from your research, what have you found over time that those businesses that have stayed and stayed through this time and have excelled, what were those things that they got right?
A few of them I think from the top of my head is really have strong leadership, right? It's one of the gaps also as a continent, it's strong leadership and leadership in terms of not just management, but how do we lead our companies? How do we lead our people? That's one. The second one is innovation. We need to be able to look at our customers and be sensitive enough to know what the customers are asking for. What do they need? And so for us, when I think about our evolution as a business, there were times where our customers sent us messages, and messages not necessarily sometimes in what they said, but how they were responding. And the sensitivity of that is part of the reasons why you can then create innovative products that become satisfying. But I think lastly is building processes. We don't have a culture where for example, how does your mother cook a particular soup? When your mother's soup is cooked, can your sister cook the same soup and it tastes exactly the same like your mother? Very unlikely. That's happened all the time. The reason why is because we're not taught to use measurements, right? Teaspoon. If I ask you how many teaspoons of salt do you use, you say you don't know. You just sprinkle. You just know, right? And that's a culture. But Auntie Jemima syrup is now being sold in Nigeria. The reason why is because somebody had a recipe. Auntie Jemima's recipe was learned by somebody else who then created a product, and today that product has been scaled across the continent. So it's about processes. What are processes? What are the step-by-step steps that we're taking every day to ensure that we have the same result and outcome, consistent outcomes? And so innovation, strong leadership, and building systems in our businesses such that the outcomes are the same every time.
All right, we'll take a quick break and please stay with us. You're still watching Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa.
If we don't put our best people forward, you'd not expect magic.
All of us in Nigeria have one mental health issue or the other. And so, by the time you bring up these children not to understand what challenges are, the first challenge they face, they want to just end it all.
I don't think we're going to go through anything in 2021.
I saw it coming.
I think we're going to go deeper into suffering.
It's horrible.
Nigerians are impoverished every day. It looks like when we wake up on a good day, the government has one more policy to make us poorer.
We have duplication of work, passing files from one person to the other for no reason. What are you borrowing for? We can't see anything. The government needs to look inwards, to change things, to save us money, and then redistribute the wealth, where the wealthiest 1% of Nigeria can actually feed the whole of Nigeria.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are watching Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa, and our guest for today is somebody I admire so much. It's still Tara Fela Durotoye. Let's talk about integrity in running a business in Nigeria. It is key. Can you tell us about some of your experiences in terms of integrity, maybe from people to you or from you towards people?
So I think it's a bit of from a personal standpoint and then from a business standpoint. Personal standpoint in terms of being a person who, integrity is really about keeping to your word. So you say something and you do it. And sometimes as an employer of labor, sometimes you make commitments to the employees and to the company as a whole, and then you find out that you're stuck in a rut. And then the question is, should you stay with what you've already promised? And for me, it becomes a question of integrity where I'm not able to. And so there are times where I've reminded myself, well, you've said so, so therefore you have to do so, even though it's not ever. And then there are moments where I feel like people took advantage of the company, for example, but then we put a policy in place that ensures that somebody can take advantage of that policy. And unfortunately, I can see that the person taking advantage of the policy, but nothing to be done because we've already committed to it. And these are some of the things that we talk about when we're building structure. You know, I run a masterclass with entrepreneurs, and one of the things I do is to say, well, you don't create policies when there's a crisis, right? You sort out that, you don't change a policy when there's a crisis. You allow that policy to fly, and then after that, you can begin to think about ways to adjust the policy. But if you've said, for example, people can date, like you've said, employees can date while they're working in your organization, and then something happens where two people are dating and you feel the company's at risk because of that, then you want to change the policy. You can't change the policy, right, until subsequently, right? And so these are some of the things that I've seen from an integrity standpoint. Another issue is around, for example, running stores across the country where in different cities have different things. People come and say, oh, well, we are local government or we are semi-local government. And they want to take this and they want to take advantage of businesses because they feel we don't have enough knowledge. And the team knows that we don't offer bribes and we would never offer a bribe, or rather we suffer for it. I mean, I've had situations where we've been taken to somewhere in Lagos State, for example, to say, oh, you have to, because you haven't done this, you have to do this. And the question is for me is, can I pay a bribe? Yes, somebody could tell you that this is an easy way out, but I'd rather not do that because also it's an example that I'm trying to set as an owner of an organization, as a leader within my community. So it's an interesting question to ask because it's a real crisis here, a crisis of values as a people. And I think it's going to take us one after the other to do what we have to do on a personal level for that to change. So if I run an organization that has 300 employees and people know that I insist that we must do things right, then those who leave the organization to start up their own businesses sometimes carry away those values, and we can have a potential ripple effect of it. Yes.
Now, in terms of financial management, because I feel like it's also it's intertwined with the issue of integrity. Now, you have been able to come up with other branches across Nigeria and across Africa as well. This requires a level of financial stability. Have you been able to grow that while managing the issue of integrity?
So I don't think, I haven't had a situation where growth for us is dependent on our single customers buying. It's not dependent on a government, for example. Our growth is not dependent on an institution. As long as you run a business that you're at a key man risk when your customer is maybe one institution, then that affects you. But for us, it's ordinary African women who just want a lipstick and who want an eyeshadow, who want a powder that suits them, and they come and buy our brand. It is those women, and there's so many of them that I don't know personally who are making choices. They are the ones who are giving the company the financial capacity to be able to expand. Anyone who's buying our franchise, what the person is basically saying is, I'm paying for your brand name and I'm paying for the brand that you've built. That gives us capacity to continue to expand organically. And I think that's really about our consumers constantly buying the product because they're proud of the product, they're proud of the quality of the product, but also it's about franchises, buying more and more franchises and therefore giving us the potential to expand.
So talking about the products, you've been running this business for many years. In your own perspective, would you say that Nigerians, or would I say Africans, have embraced our local products than foreign products?
So when I first started, this was a question, are Nigerians really ready? And I was shocked. I was shocked because the first product I started with was makeup brushes, and it was really for makeup artists. But I did a launch, and at the launch, people were surprised that it was just brushes. They were actually expecting lipsticks and powders. Between that time and now, which is almost 20 years, right, I've seen a significant growth in the interest of Africans for Africa, right? I remember when we launched in Kenya, the reception that we received as a brand at the time was a reflection that Africans were already ready. As much as we still have, we have entrance of international brands into the market, but the local brands have begun to compete at the same level as international brands, which I find to be totally amazing. But it has come as a result of the evolution in the industry, the participation of makeup artists. I mean, now what we've done as an industry is makeup artists have triggered the interest of the consumers by teaching them what is possible, by doing those YouTube videos, by doing the Instagram lives, by showing the step-by-step, quick makeup, 5 minutes makeup. Every time the makeup artists are doing that, they're changing the culture. And by changing the culture, people become more interested. So if makeup artists are saying, I'm using Tara, then the consumers want to use Tara as well.
Of course. And we see that you are very vested in training young leaders, particularly ladies. What inspires you to do all of this?
I do that because I'm also someone who's been, they say to whom much is given, much is required. I'm one who other women have invested in, other women have given their time and their mentorship and their sponsorship, and I feel like I have to pay it forward. So it's come out of a place of paying it forward. Give and it shall be given back to you. So for me, I need to give it. I owe it to give it. I'm blessed so that I can be a blessing. And that is one of the things that pushes me, gives me the desire to do so. And impact is such an integral, and I said at the very beginning, impact and empowerment is such an integral part of who I am in fulfilling my purpose. And so there's a purpose element, but there's also people have invested in you, and it's time for you to pay it forward. Yeah.
Of course. Great, wonderful. We can say that young people now struggle between knowing what to do. So, okay, I want to be a lawyer today. I want to be a beauty entrepreneur tomorrow. I want to be a journalist the day after. So what's your take on transitioning, especially for young people? What's your advice? What would you say about not knowing what to do?
I don't think that's new. I don't think it's a young people's thing. Just telling that story, I remember, yes, I think I know someone who's, there are few people who knew what they wanted to do, and then they went straight in and they've never changed. There are few people like that, but I know more people who have gone through evolutions, and women who are older than me who have gone through evolutions. And then those who haven't gone through that evolution in terms of changing a career path. And so I would say, well, calm down, right? You have time. I remember Mrs. Awushika's story, starting off as an accountant, right? And then studying chemistry, and then going to be doing accounting and working in an accounting firm, and then moving on from there to now owning a furniture company, and then building so many companies at the same time, now chairman of the largest bank in the continent. So I think that evolution is real, and I think that people just need to find what their purpose is, and your purpose is at the time where you currently are. What is it that inspires you? And I think that my counsel also is, let's not be so driven by what others are doing, but what I am supposed to be doing. And if you focus on what you're supposed to be doing, you would know instinctively. And if you know instinctively, have the courage to do it, even if it's not even if it's not sexy. Yes.
I like that bit. So what would you say to that young entrepreneur who wants to start off his or her business at this point in time and is listening to you?
I would say look for solutions. Those who solve big problems make big money. So look for solutions, solutions that no one has thought about or have not leveraged, and work on that. The Nigerian youths are brilliant, absolutely brilliant, innovative, creative. And let's bring that to bear and solve some of our social issues as a continent and as a country. And if we do so, then people will pay big money for solving big problems.
Certainly. Tara Fela-Durotoye, it was a pleasure having you on our program today.
Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Thank you.
And that's all on Ladies Talking Business on this special episode. For those of you who joined us, thank you so much. From me, Irene Ubani, it's a thank you And
for
from my
me,
co-host,
it's a thank you as well.
Until next time, bye.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
If we don't put our best people forward, you'd not expect magic.
All of us in Nigeria have one mental health issue or the other. And so, by the time you bring up these children not to understand what challenges are, the first challenge they face, they want to just end it all.
I don't think we're going to pull through anything in 2021.
I saw it coming.
I think we're going to go deeper into suffering.
It's horrible.
Everything is
Nigerians are impoverished every day. It looks like when we wake up on a good day, the government has one more policy to make us poorer.
We have duplication of work, passing files from one person to the other for no reason. What are you borrowing for? We can't see anything. The government needs to look inwards to change things, to save us money, and then redistribute the wealth, where the wealthiest 1% of Nigeria can actually feed the whole of Nigeria.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Thanks for joining us on the news on Plus TV Africa. I'm Aneta Felix. One person was feared dead while scores of vehicles got burnt in a tanker explosion that occurred at 8:15 a.m. on Tuesday in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The tanker carrying 33 liters of fuel reportedly lost control due to a brake failure while descending from a bridge. The tanker hit a moving motorcycle, then rammed into some commercial vehicles waiting for passengers at the end of the bridge shortly before it exploded. The fire spread to a few offices around the place, and officials of the Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps, TRACE, were deployed to the scene to control the ensuing traffic. The Nigerian Air Force has lost 8 personnel as troops attacked and killed 30 armed bandits in Bungudu local government area of Zamfara State. Air Force spokesman Ibikunle Daramola says troops mobilized in response to reports that armed bandits and a large number of rustled cattle were spotted on the move. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, sympathized with family of the fallen hero, praying for the peaceful repose of his soul. He urged all NAV personnel to remain resolute and continue to work assiduously. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Maiduguri Zonal Office, have slammed fresh fraud charges against Aisha Wakili, also known as Mama Boko Haram. Aisha was arraigned before Justice Aisha Kumalia of the Borno State High Court, sitting in Maiduguri, on 3 count charges involving criminal conspiracy, obtaining the sum of 41.7 million naira by false pretense. She was arraigned alongside Tahiru Dara and Lawal Shoyede, Program Manager and Country Director of Complete Care and Aid Foundation. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has lashed out at those who criticized the Christmas Day speech of the Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Reverend Father Matthew Kuka. The playwright said he had studied the transcript as reported in the media and found nothing in it that had denigrated Islam. He, however, noted that he was not among the most religious besotted inhabitants of the globe. Kuka, in the speech, summed up the country's challenges, ranging from insecurity, poverty to frustration under the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has challenged the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, to post photo and video evidence of Christians whom he claimed are members of the notorious terror group Boko Haram. CAN General Secretary Joseph Daramola was speaking to allegations by Zulum that Christians are members of the Abubakar Shekau terror group. Report says Zulum has alleged on Friday at an event in Lagos that Asians, foreigners and other Africans are part of the terror group. Many Christians have since doubted the Zulum's claim, as Boko Haram had consistently identified with Islam. The terror group's leader, Abubakar Shekau, had also at several times featured in videos speaking Arabic and citing Quranic verses. In some parts of Nigeria and Africa, parents and even the society view young female children as an economic burden. Others view them as a means to generate income and favor, thus the reason why they marry off their young daughters before the legal age of adulthood. In this piece, Plus TV Africa crew interviewed some parents in Abuja to get their reaction on underage marriage.
People should not rush, children should not be pushed into marriage because they need to be mature. They need to know what it is to live with a man in a house and all the circumstances that goes around marriage.
I'm against such because it's an abuse of our daughters' opportunities because they have other brighter futures of which they are confident of doing something tomorrow for us, but of which is too undermined for us to go or encourage under marriage.
Marriage is not for boys and it's not for girls. It's for mature people, mindsets, and you have to compose yourself for anything you are rushing into. When you rush in, you rush out. So I advise you at least at the age of maybe 25, 30, you are okay to marry.
Before this child grow up, I want this child to get married because I want to even give you one of our imam's son, understand? Because I don't want her to be spoiled or something like that. And maybe the boy too may be very small, understand? They will leave two of them to grow up together. When they grow up to some certain stage, they wear them together. I think that's one that I accepted. Not the man of 60 years getting married to 18 or 17 years old girl. It's like you are imprisoning her future.
Nigeria has recorded 1,617 new cases of the novel coronavirus, according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. In a late-night tweet, the NCDC also reported an additional 14 deaths, bringing total casualties from the virus to 1,449. Till date, Nigeria has recorded 112,004 COVID-19 infections, with 89,939 cases successfully treated and discharged. Almost half of Monday's cases were recorded in Lagos, with 776 infections. Other states with new cases include Kaduna, 147, Kwara, 131, FCT, 102, Plateau, 78, Edo, 59, Ogun, 53, among others. The Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shuaib, says Nigerians had more than enough facility to store the 100,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine that is expected in the country in late January or early February. Shuaib said this at the briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja. He said it was not true that the 100,000 doses being expected would be wasted because of lack of storage facility, while encouraging all Nigerians to get vaccinated when vaccines become accessible. Shuaib said the chances of spreading the disease are significantly reduced when community members are vaccinated. The World Health Organization, WHO, has stated that by the end of 2021, a total of 900 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines would have been distributed across Africa. The WHO Regional Director for Africa stated that 600 million doses will be provided by the COVAX facility managed by Gavi, the WHO and CEPI. She, however, added that the remaining 300 million doses will be provided through a joint effort by the African Union and will become available as early as March 2021.
The COVAX facility, which is coordinated by Gavi, WHO, and CEPI, aims to provide around 600 million doses for Africa, we estimate, in 2021. We expect the first doses to arrive by the end of March, with a larger rollout by June. However, COVAX can only cover 20% of the African population, so it is really wonderful to see the African Union's efforts to secure a provisional 270 million doses by the end of 2021 are achieving success. Together, we'll deliver nearly 900 million doses for this year.
Against the backdrop of dissenting voices over the directive by the Lagos State government for primary and secondary schools to resume, many schools have complied with necessary COVID-19 protocols in place. Commissioner for Education in the state, Folashade Adefisayo, on a visit to Okpebi Grammar School to monitor level of compliance with the guidelines, reiterated the need for staggered attendance to observe social distancing. Plus TV Africa's correspondent Destiny Momo has more.
During the visit to Okpebi Junior and Senior Grammar School, Mrs. Adefisayo said that washing of hands and wearing of nose mask and maintaining of physical distancing in particular are mandatory among students and staff. She urged the school community to stay safe and adhere strictly to guidelines, emphasizing that every school must provide soap, wash hand basin, alcoholic hand sanitizers, thermometers and other essential items for use by both the students and workers.
Well, I think largely most of our schools, public and private, are adhering to the COVID protocols within the school. I know most schools well. I know where the isolation centers, I know where the sick bay is, I know that all those are in place.
She explains why schools have to resume despite the lingering second wave of COVID-19, while senior civil servants work from home. She has this to say.
If you look at the policy very carefully today, it does say that essential workers will be rostered. So people are coming. Even in my own office, I have people below level 14, but because they are essential workers, they come to work.
Another government official and the principal of Okpebi Senior and Junior Grammar Schools explain more on the staggering classes.
According to the directive from the head of service, levels 14 and below are to stay home. But for the students, for the school system, what we have is we have a kind of roster for them so that those who are not supposed to be here are not here at all.
Every parent, they know that Corona is real. Nobody wants to lose any life. So parents also are eager. We teachers are set. That is why even for teachers, they don't come every day.
In a twist of events, a private school proprietor on Plus TV Africa morning show, The Breakfast, expressed the frustration being faced by many private schools.
Let me tell you this part. The last time the government asked us to open, just for 1 week, many schools were able to keep the measures put in place. It's precautionary measure. After a week, a lot of water stopped running in many schools, and sanitizers are not finished. The thermometer to take the temperature stopped working. A lot of schools abandoned all these precautionary measures. School owners, the school system was not oblivious of it again. It's not conscious of it anymore. So everybody dropped it.
The students equally expressed their stake in the discussion.
I'm very happy to be in school because I haven't been in school since a long time because of this pandemic. So us resuming now is a good impression. Okay.
We always make use of our nose mask. We have sanitizers in all the class and we sit in isolation. We don't have more than 15 students in the